Morning, we'll continue with the Torah Parshas Naso. We started off yesterday. Naso is Sosh B'nei Gershon. We asked the question, why does it say about B'nei Gershon Gam Hem? They should also be counted after the end of Parshas Bamidbar, where Parshas, the end of the Parshas Bamidbar, it says we're counting B'nei Kehasim, the brothers of the Gershons. It says Gam Hem. And it says about B'nei Gershon that everything they do should be Pi Aaron. By Aaron it should be done, meaning Aaron is supervising all the work of Gershon. It doesn't say this about Kehos, about Merori, it says it only about the Gershon. We have to understand what it is. So the Alter Rebbe started off explaining what is the purpose of traveling in the desert with the Mishkan and its vessels. What is the Midbar? Midbar is a place that nothing grows there. It's a place that just wants, and it's not a place that gives, like the other side. And comes to Hashem. Hashem is Chesed. Hashem is giving. And when a place of Kedusha, Sitra the Kedusha, the side of holiness, is the side of giving, the side of Chesed, the side of Klippah, the side of taking. Always want to take. So that's what the Midbar is. For example, Avraham Avinu was nullified. He said about himself, "But I am dust and ashes." So therefore, he constantly gave. Someone that is very involved with themselves, so they are the opposite of being nullified. And everything wants to come. He wants everything to come to him. So he's not going to be in a state of mashpia. To be in a state of a giver, you need to be in a state of bittul. So the Midbar is a place of the three klippos, because it says Nachor, Self, Yaakov, presenting the harming creatures that are there, serpent and scorpion and the like. So that's a place that is separated, opposite of nullification, and there's no ashpah from it. Nothing comes out of it, just sand. So Alter Rebbe explains that this was the purpose of traveling in the desert, especially the Ark with the Mishkan, with the 42 camps, 42 encampments. 42 is representing the name of Hashem, that subduing these klippos, subdue those klippos. And that's why the Owen was traveling in the desert, to subdue the klippos. And this was through godly revelation that was in the Mishkan, in the sanctuary. When they carried the Mishkan around, they were nullified by themselves. Why do we need to nullify them? Let them be. It's another inyan. We have to understand, why do we want to nullify the klippos that are in the Midbar? What do we care about them? The Jews have to travel in the Midbar for 40 years. Because the Alter Rebbe explains that the purpose of this hachna, of this subduing, is really a preparation for the time of Mashiach, that to enable godly revelation even in the lowly world, even in this world. By this subjugation happens in a place of concealment, a place of yeshus, a place of existence, emphasized existence. But by subduing it, you're enabling it afterwards to bring godly revelation, and this revelation will take place in the time of Mashiach. And then the Alter Rebbe explained that really, from Hashem's perspective, there's nothing that is concealing from Him. Even emphasized existence, like the Yeshus that we discussed, it's only from the perspective of the Niva, of the created being, of the animated, that he might feel separated and existing. But from the perspective of the emanator, Hashem, nothing is really hiding. He knows exactly who that He gives you life and you're dependent on Him constantly, and there's nothing really, you don't have a true existence without Him. And then we said, listen, look at the everything that Hashem created was through speech, and what significance does one utterance has in comparison to your ability to speak? You can speak almost limitless amount of words, and if you're able to create through speech, then what significance would you give to the things that you created? Not much. And even if they are considering themselves as existing and they have the puffiest existence in the world, it doesn't change the fact that Hashem gives you life every single second, and you can maybe feel separated, independent. From your perspective, from Hashem's perspective, there's nothing really. You're not. Nothing has changed, and the truth is that your existence is not really there, because if He takes away His life force, everything would go back to nothingness. But this really gives us some perspective on looking at understanding the concept of bittul, and why do we need to be in a state of bittul? Because at the end of the day, we're created through dibur. U'omar vayeh. Hashem said, and it came into being. And what significance does dibur have? If I can create palaces and cars and all these things that we see around us by just saying it, let it be this, let it be this, I wouldn't consider even a 20-bedroom palace is not going to be important for me. It's not significant because I can make another one in 2 seconds. Yeah. But if you work on something for 30 years to make something, and obviously you give it more chashivus, it's considered, oh wow, this is important. But to Hashem, oh Malvayeh, Tziva Vayamud, He said, and it came into being. That's it. So the point is that we live in a place that is concealed, and the root of all concealments is starting off from the desert, from the place of where the Gimel Klippos, the 3 Klippos are beaming. They call it beaming. They are thriving there, and that's why the Mishkan was traveling in the desert. Mishkan is a place where godliness was revealed. So wherever the Jewish people were encamped and wherever they walked around with the Mishkan, it melted. The Klippos melted away by default. As soon as they came by, they melted away. And that was a preparation for the time of Mashiach. So if you look at Ve'ine, right? Ve'ine zeh, or Inyan Nisyas HaMishkan from Mamish V'chinas Olam, was the purpose of the Mishkan traveling. So this is happening also now in the state of Nefesh. So we understand what does it mean. Olam and Nefesh. There's 2 words over here that the Alter Rebbe is using. That was the traveling of the Mishkan in actuality. Before Mamish V'chinas Olam, in a state of a world. Now it's happening also now. Since on a spiritual level, meaning this journey continues, this membase 42 travelings, 42 encampments are really happening in every person's life, as the Baal Shem Tov said. But it happens in a state of nefesh, not in a state of oilum. So we'll see what it means. Every person has within him a mishkan. And all proteinyanim, meaning all the details that are existing in the Mishkan, are existing within Nefesh Adam. So the same way that the Mishkan was traveling in actuality in the desert, which was Olam, in the world, the Mishkan was traveling in a physical place to subdue the source of klippos, to subdue the source of impurity, to subdue the source of resistance to godliness, to subdue the source of concealment. This inyan, this concept happens also in spirituality. In a state of nefesh of every single Jew. Nefesh means your soul. In a derech prat, in an individualized way. Torah was given to every person. So you have a mishkan individually within you. And all the details of the mishkan, which curtains, the utensils, the traveling, they're also existing within Avodah Sodom, the work of men. The Ineksiv, it's written in Parshas Truma, chapter 25, verse 8. And they made a mikdash. They should make me a sanctuary, and I will dwell in them. The rabbi said, it doesn't say b'seichoi, meaning I will dwell in it. It says I will dwell in them. Why? Which means the commandment is really telling us that every single Jew has to create a sanctuary within himself. The sanctuary starts from you. You have to create a sanctuary to Hashem in you. And then you are a walking sanctuary. And wherever you go, you're melting away. The clippers are melting away. So number one is, first of all, the godly revelations will be in you. In your davening. That's the Gemara in Tainis, page 2b. It says over there about the that in davening your heart has to be pure. It says in Tilim, Lev Toher Bar Le'Elekim. Hashem created the Lev Toher. Hashem gave you a Lev Toher, a pure heart. Moshe Kosuv Bar Leva. The Kasher Levav Toher Mikol Sim B'Tilav Levad. When your heart is clean, nothing else but Hashem. Azay Nikro Mishka. Then it's called sanctuary. Lishkan V'Gilei Ravaya. To have a revelation of Hashem. Moshe Kosuv Nikicha Apayim Var Leva. Pure heart. Nikicha Apayim is pure hands. Isa Bochem is Hashem is the one. He is the person that will receive blessing from Hashem. The Pirush Bracha. What is Bracha means? What is the Bracha? The Bracha we're looking for is a drawdown of godliness. You want to bring godliness into the world. You have to be Nikicha Apayim. You have to be pure hands, pure heart. So, Avodas Hashem, serving Hashem in davening. The rabbi said that's Avodas Shebalev, the service of the heart. It's Avodas Hashem. You arouse yourself, wake yourself up in davening. There's awakening in davening that awakens you, the Chukka Sliba, that your heart has passion to connect to Hashem. When you have no agendas, that's Lev Torah, that's a pure heart. ועל ידי זה ידחה ויכניע גם כן ההסתר שלנו שבאמיס המסתר ומלדה ונראה לי האלה מבחינת שיש דובר נפרד. Then you have the ability to reject, you have the ability to subdue the hester of nefesh ba'amis, the concealment of the animalistic soul. Mastil that conceals, umavdil and separates. Animalistic soul says the world is separated. The world has its own. The world is a separate entity. Because of the coarseness of the animalistic soul. But when his heart is pure, you will see immediately that truly the world does not conceal ungodliness. The same way that from the perspective above on the world is what we say, kamei keloi choshiv, that to him kamei is Hashem. To him the world is insignificant. Through the purity of the heart, godliness will be revealed, even in a place of concealment. That you shouldn't be any kind of concealment. So the point is that if a person is able to serve Hashem without agendas, then Eravaya, the light of God, will dwell in him. And the light is causing them to be able to see the truth without any concealment. Same way that to Hashem the world is not a concealment, to you the world can be a place that is not concealing. It all depends on your heart. Mishkan traveled in the midbar. Why? To subdue the midbar, subdue the desert. The evil inclination is also a midbar. It's also a state of midbar. Wants and doesn't want to give. Why does it want all the time? Because it's yeshus, or it's arrogancy. He's considering himself as an independent being that needs more and more and more. So when you are creating a sanctuary in yourself, and you're able to subdue the Yetzer Hara. Same way the Mishkan was the vessel. The Mishkan was the vessel that was used to destroy and subdue the klippas. The Mishkan that you can create inside you can help you subdue the Yetzer Hara. What happened in the Mishkan? Why the Mishkan was able to subdue the klippas? Because Hashem dwelled in the Mishkan. If Hashem dwells in you, Yetzer Hara is destroyed. Evil inclination is subdued immediately. All you have to do is enable Hashem to dwell in you. That's what it means, also the Mishkan. Shu'eretz le'zua, what is a midbar? The pasuk in Yirmiyah says, Eretz le'zua, place that you can't plant. No planting in the midbar. Go try to plant in the midbar. In Israel, they plant in the midbar, but they plant above. They're only using the land in terms of space. It's an open space, so they use the space, but they are planting above ground. Okay, so they created almost like tables, and then on the tables there's regular soil, and they can grow. The climate is good. The soil is not good. Is that?
Well, maybe they irrigated also some.
No.
I know they have the hydro.
They irrigate the top. In midbar, you can put water, it just drain and drain. Right. It's like a beach sand. Right. What are you going to do with it?
Right. And it's hydroponics.
Yeah. So what is Eretz Lo Zua? Eretz Lo Zua, it's not a place that is not planted. Nothing grows there. That goes on the midbar. But how does it apply to us? We said that the Alter Rebbe writes the Yetzer Hara is like a midbar. So how does it apply to us? So he says, "Hamaisim adiburim hamachshovis," the actions, the speech, and the thoughts, asher lavayemo. That's called Eretz Lo Zua. Why? Thoughts, speech, and actions that are nothing to do with Hashem. You're just doing it for yourself. Hashem is not on your mind. It's called Eretz Lo Zua, land that is not planted. And he says that could be even in things that are permissible. It's just that it's just for you. That Hashem is not in the picture. What does it mean? Land that no one lived there, as the Yirmiyah describes, the prophet Yirmiyah described the desert. Pirush Odom. What does Odom mean? On the throne, there is, in the prophecy of Yechezkel, there is the moose. There's an image, like the image of man. But it says, Asher lo yoshav Odom shom. Lo yoshav shom. What does it mean? No one dwelled there. Ki ve'osu migdash shachati b'serum ksi. The title Odom is referring to the Odom Ha'elyon, to the supernal man, which is Hashem. So it says, in regard to us, thoughts, speech are nullified, and maisim and actions that are not from the side of kedusha, they are bechinas midbar. They are in a state of the desert. And lo yoshavodam sham, Hashem does not come there, because all the actions were not involving Him. When does He come? V'shochanti b'sechem is only when you make a mikdash. If you make a mishkan, He will come. But if you create a desert in you, He was not going to come. Lo yoshavodam sham. That's what the Eretz lo yizu, a place that is not planted, that you have machshavos, diburim, ma'asim that have nothing to do with Hashem. Lo yoshavodam sham. Odom Elyon, Hashem is not coming. Okay, in tzorch lachnia b'chinas midbar. Therefore, you have to subdue the midbar. What is the midbar? The shu yetzer hara, but the evil inclination that is in you. That's the midbar. How do you subdue the yetzer hara? You have to drive godliness into you. Draw down godliness into you. Who creates thoughts, speech, and action that have nothing to do with Hashem? The yetzer hara. The evil inclination. So you have to draw down tremendous amount of light, of ma'aseh, good deeds, lots of learning Torah, lots of davening. So that would drive away the other thoughts. It wouldn't have time for machshavos, diburim, and ma'asim that are nothing to do with Hashem, and it drives away the evil inclination. Creates a mishkan, and if you create a mishkan in you, evil will dissipate. So how do we create a mishkan? By doing the opposite. Diburim, thoughts, our speech, our thoughts, and our action are all involved with Hashem. Previously, we learned that the three parts of the Mishkan was the beams of the Mishkan, right? Karsha Mishkan. You had the beams, and the beams were carried by Merori, the sons of Merori. They carried the beams. The curtains were carried by Gershon, and the utensils of the Mishkan were Kehos. Okay, the three Levites, each one was carrying something else. Merori, the beams, that was the heavy stuff. Gershon, the curtains, and the utensils was Kehos. Mishkan had three things. Karsha Mishkan, the beams of the Mishkan. Yeriyas Mishkan, the curtains of the Mishkan. V'akelim, and the utensils themselves. I knew what is the utensils. Oren, the ark, the menorah, the mizbeach, the altar. So let's start with the kroshim. Let's understand what are the beams. It says that it has to be atzi shitim, acacia wood. They have to be erected, standing. This compared to the angels. So the angels are called oimdim. They're always standing, ready to work. It's written in Yeshaya chapter 6, verse 2. Srofim oimdim imal. Pirus srofim oimdim. What does that mean? Srofim oimdim kemaimer. Pasuk says, Asher meshoso kulam oimdim beru moilo mashmim biro. That the Meshosim, they all stand, Berum Oilom, Mashmim Beiro. So the standing of the Malachim shows us that they're in a state of fear, in awe. So the same thing with Kroshim, the Kroshim in the Mishkan, since they were Oimdim, the beams, representing how we serve Hashem with bitul and awe, nullification and awe. So that's the inyan of Merori, inyan of Kroshim. What is Amida? It says, the Gemara in Saita says, en Amida l'shtika. Pirushtika inu b'chinas bitul ha'atzos mikol v'kol. Shtika, silent, is nullification that comes from awe. Like someone that comes to someone is standing before the king suddenly. It's so he's like speechless, not sure what to say. So creating bitul harotzi, not to have any other rotzin beside rotzin to Hashem. I'm not interested in anything else but you. It says in Ethics of the Fathers, chapter 2, verse 4, the Mishnah 4, it says, nullify your will. So again, silence, shtika, in avodas Hashem, in serving Hashem, is that you nullifying yourself because of awe, because of fear. So you are silencing your personal wantings, your personal desires. You put them on a silent, meaning you're quieting them down, and you're not interested in them anymore. And that's the meaning, not to have retzenos of your own, the things that are not Hashem. All the rotzins that you have, the only rotzin, the only will, the only desire that you have is to Hashem. Why are we calling this state of bitul silence or amida standing? When someone has love to Hashem, he's already connected to Hashem, he has great love to Hashem, he's in a state of mehalech, he's called the walker. If you just have awe, you're in a state of a stander. Comes to Avram that served Hashem with love, he was in a state of traveling, he's always going. He continuously went from one level to the next, grew from one level to the next. But in order to get to the state of walking, the state of great love to Hashem, you have to start with Amida. So you have to start with first standing. Iras Hashem. Start with Ira. To be silent. Minispashtus. To try to quiet down the desires of this world. The foreign wishes, the foreign wills. Someone has a desire for foreign things. This is called hiluch, but it's walking on the other side. There's hiluch, there's walking in kedusha, there's progress in kedusha, and there's progress in olam hazeh, in this world, in klippa, in concealment, and that's the desire for foreign things. Regarding this walking of klippa of the other side, it says, this guy comes to the wealthy man. The walking on the other side. That the desires of this world are only increasing, they're only now strengthening, they're becoming more and more. It says the Gemara over there discusses about the Yetzer Hara, that he starts as a walker, he starts as a guest, and then he becomes and then he starts to live in the house, and then he has demands. So we have hiluch in kedusha, like Avram Avinu Olach v'Nasan Egba, that constantly he's growing because he has avos Hashem, and he has love to God, and therefore he goes from one level to the next. And then you have on the other side hiluch the klippa. So in order to get out of this, you have to be in a state. It has to start with standing. The level of Gershon, the level of Merori, that to carry the beams. The beams represents Amida, standing, but that's the first stage of Bitul. Nullification, silencing the other wishes, the other tzonos. And then you can come to the level of Avram, which is Mehalech, to be a walker. So what is the walking on the other side, be Mehalech on the side of Klippa, is like it's, as the Gemara describes in Bab Metzia, where it speaks about the damagers. It says Mishal Charegel, Asher v'Achamor, those who are creating damage is the ox, the donkey. To try to prevent the progress, the growth of the evil inclination, to stop him, to quiet him down. In order to transform the hiluch, the walking, instead of walking in the side of Klippa, to walk in the side of Kedusha. Or the Shiov, it's come to a state of Amida, of standing. Notifying your Rotzin. And this is the concept of Kroshim Oimdim, Atzi Shitim Oimdim, that the Aveda of Merori carrying the beams. That the beams were Amida or Bitul, standing, represents nullification. This will is generated through awe, through fear. This is the level of the angels that are also called Oimdim, standing in Uberum Oilam, standing in the higher worlds and pronouncing with awe, they're praising Hashem with awe. So Alter Rebbe concludes the service of Bnei Merori, the sons of Merori, that they carried the beams. In order to get to this level, you have to start with merirus, bitterness. What does it mean, bitterness? You have to do calculations. Sometimes it's not nice to. It's not fun to do these calculations, the evaluations, and to see the days that he didn't serve Hashem, that he walked in the darkness for many days. That arouses the merirus, the merori, morir, more bitter, arouses rachamim, great mercies on his nefesh, on his soul, that he spent so much time feeding the other side. And that would come that he was also a mehalach on the other side. He walked on the other side and progressed in with his evil inclination to do, to really feed the other side. And now he can come to be mehalach in the side of Kedusha, to be a walker in the side of Kedusha. But all has to start with the avodah of Merori, is to be to come to bitul, and we explain what is bitul, is silencing all the other ritzainus, all the other wills, and to have one rotzin to Hashem. And that is the first stage before you can come to the level of mehalach, to be in the level of a walker. And that's the reason why Bnei Merori, the sons of Merori, were the ones to carry the beams. Because through the Merori, through the bitterness, through the calculation, the evaluation, and the honest evaluation, you can come to be keresh, you become to a level of bitul harotzin, nullifying your will. We'll continue, God willing, next time. Welcome to you.